G'day and welcome back to another Dbz Dokkan battle video. In this video we are going to take a look at the brand new EZA that's come out on Dbz Dokkan Battle Global for TEQ Hit. So this Extreme Z battle is for the Extreme Z Awakening medals for TEQ Hit. Now, the all-out struggle and int characters are going to be effective against Hit, the all-out struggle being a very small category. As per usual, you will be receiving some Grand Kais and, of course, some hidden potential orbs, and Hit's EZA is a pretty impressive one. He gains attack and defense per every Universe 6 ally on the rotation. He now also has extra defense and attack when he strikes with his super attack, plus he has attack and defense that he gains upon super attack. So he's got a lot more defense than before, like way more defense than before, which is pretty nuts considering the fact that, well, he basically went from 0 to hero in terms of his defense. So it's very impressive, it's very helpful. In terms of the rest, it's all pretty much stock standard for your EZAs. Hit, all out struggle is the category. Int is the damaging type. It's going to start slowly, with Hit being able to be affected by attack lowering, defense lowering, stunning, sealing, pretty much everything. And yeah, so nothing too crazy on that side. Obviously, in terms of building the team, it's a pretty strange category. So in terms of leads, it only really has the physical Goku and Vegeta unit as the major lead for the category. You can run a Kamehameha lead, that will probably work for you, the Teen a la Gohan. But to be honest, the three options you have for lead are pretty much the Universal Survival Saga Goku, which is the Strength Kaioken one, the physical Blue Goku and Blue Vegeta, and then you also have the AGL Teen Gohan Kamehameha lead. Now the problem if you run the AGL Gohan Kamehameha lead is that you're taking double AGL Gohan. Now AGL Gohan does fine in this event, but the one problem we do have in this event is dealing damage. There's not a lot of int all-out struggle units, at least that I have. So it is quite difficult to actually get units that can deal damage in this event. I think the Android 17 and representatives of Universe 7 are on the all-out struggle category. Obviously that's an int unit, a very powerful one that will be able to help you. But if you don't have that, which I don't, you're going to be stuck between running a USS team, a Kamehameha team, or an all-out struggle team. So it's pretty difficult to kind of just build a team for this, or to say these are the free-to-play units you can take. And the free-to-play units you can take are mainly AGL and aren't that great, so they're really going to slow you down. So this is one of those EZAs that's kind of a bummer, because it just seems like we don't have a lot of free-to-play options or alternative options. It seems like you're kind of stuck trying to take 4 or 5 of the same units that you'll see across team builds. So it's a little bit of a bummer to build for. It's not really, I didn't have a lot of fun building a team for this. I didn't feel like I was given a lot of options, at least with my box. So for the most part, you are going to struggle if you are just missing some of the units. It's almost unavoidable. It's not really something you can prepare for. So that is a little bit of a bummer, bound to be a bummer. But you do at least have the LR Master Roshi, the free-to-play Master Roshi, who's a solid enough option in terms of units that you can take. But that's it. So you have LR Master Roshi, and then that's all you really have. But fortunately, Hit himself is not too difficult. Like I said, you can take double AGL Team Gohan, and you will be fine. So yeah, we'll start off obviously with stage 1, and then as always we'll take a look at stage 10, 20 and 30. With all EZAs, obviously, or Extreme Z battles, just remember that there are a couple missions, and we will take a look at those missions in depth, but they're pretty much the stock standard missions that you do have. So the stock standard missions are obviously to clear stage 10 or higher at 1 minute 50 seconds. Then it's to clear stage 20 or higher at 2 minutes and 20 seconds. And then also to clear a stage above stage 20 with at least 3 all-out struggle units. So those are the missions. Really not too bad. You should be able to do them. In fact, you naturally should kind of pretty much be doing them. You know, there's no real other way to do the stages in this event. So yeah, those are the missions, which are pretty straightforward. So beyond that, it's a normal Extreme Z battle. Now in terms of Hit as a unit, obviously before he was pretty much a glass cannon, a very good offensive unit, but he was very much a glass cannon. So he's improved a lot in terms of his defense. He's basically gone from no existing defense to having a solid foundation of defense within his passive now. The one thing with Hit's passive is it's reliant on Universe 6 enemies for a portion of his defense and attack buff. For me, you know, it's not for his entire passive, so you can still get a really good amount of his passive activated without having Universe 6 enemies. But personally, I would have preferred them making it Universal Survival Saga or something like that. I think it would have been, you know, a little bit better just for the team or for Hits. I think it would have made him a lot more viable. I think it would have made him, you know, more usable in more varieties of teams, especially considering that one of his best linking partners is Jiren. Jiren not being able to be utilized next to him because he would remove part of his passive is a little bit of a bummer. So yeah, that is obviously something that is, you know, a little bit upsetting, but beyond that, I think everything was quite alright in terms of this Extreme Z battle. I think it was all pretty much solid. I think his awakening is good. Obviously his offense was always pretty decent, but it's kind of obviously upgraded that offense a little bit, and it hasn't decreased any of his utility, which is great, and it's added in much needed defense. So overall, Hit's just definitely improved, which is fantastic. Hit's a fantastic unit, and yeah, I think it's great. Please remember that you can farm Hit's super attack. You can farm it from the Universe 6 event. So yeah, you definitely shouldn't be using any Kais on Hit. Obviously, up to a certain point, he will need some Kais because he, yeah, I mean, you need to get him from 10 to 15. But yeah, definitely will need some Kais. That level 15 SA is the one that raises his attack and defense. So even though Hit does now have the ability to have some starting attack and defense, still definitely looks like he's not a main slot unit. He's not a number 1 opening slot unit, but he's definitely an incredible 2 slot or 3 slot unit, and he's definitely going to rapidly improve any team that he's on. I think he's great, really enjoying him overall. But as you can see, in terms of the Extreme Z battle, we're not really struggling so much. We're doing quite fine. We haven't had too many issues. The team is doing fine. There are some key issues in terms of this team. So just most of the units don't really link terribly well together. They lack like a lot of links. They don't necessarily link great. You have 1 or 2 great rotations. Like you have the AGL Teen Gohan, who links well with the Int Teen Gohan, and you have the Strength Goku, who links well with the Physical Goku Blue and Vegeta unit, and Master Roshi obviously provides some support to that rotation, and he links relatively okay with them, plus has his own innate ki, but usually you will have 1 or 2 units that just aren't linking too hard here. It's a little bit unavoidable, just with the way this team, my team, the team I can take is built, which is a little bit upsetting. So, and it can slow you down. Like, my times on these Extreme Z battle stages varied, probably the most I've seen in a while. Some runs, when I got lucky, when I got crits, when I got key, would take 1 minute, 1 minute 15 seconds, and then other runs would take anywhere up to like 3 or 4 minutes, which is obviously insane. And that kind of time variation wasn't really in my control. A lot of it would depend on who's opening the rotation, who's not opening the rotation, who's doing this, who's doing that. So it was very dependent on key. It was very dependent on linking, on opening rotations, and there was a lot more going on here probably than most Extreme Z battles that I've done. I haven't obviously had, I wouldn't say I struggled with this, but this is probably the first EZA in a while where it really felt like it was taking a long time. We didn't fail, which is obviously good, but yeah, it was taking quite a while. The AGL Teen Gohan also will take quite a substantial amount of damage near the end. It's almost unavoidable, so you do just need to be careful with him. Be careful where you place him, make sure that you try and keep him off rotation. He's generally just a pseudo option of lead. Like I said, if you can avoid taking him, I would avoid taking him, just because later on he doesn't really do much, barring being okay defensively. He doesn't really do a lot of damage unless he crits. Obviously, he's a decent linking partner for the int LR Gohan, so if you have the int LR Gohan, then yeah, sure, you can definitely take him. But yeah, he definitely, I would say definitely falls off quite a bit later on. Like, the AGL Teen Gohan really doesn't do too much later on. But yeah, so that's that. We're moving on to the stage 30, which is a pretty, obviously can't stun, can't seal, can't do this, can't do that, the usual, parameters of a Extreme Z battle. No real difference there, no wild surprise or anything. So yeah, we'll definitely move on to that. We've got the exact same team we've taken the entire time through, so there's been no changes, no distinct changes, nothing. I would say, if you could, obviously just drop out the AGL Teen Gohan. The TEQ Goku, the TEQ Kaioken Goku, is actually pretty good. You just need to make sure that obviously he gets enough ki to get his super, otherwise he's also going to run into some defensive problems. The rest of them are actually all fine. They're all perfectly fine. Even the 55% LR Blue Goku and Vegeta unit, my one, the 55% unit with no dupes, he's fine as well defensively. So yeah, they're all pretty good defensively. They're all okay from that aspect. So if you are concerned about anything, the only real thing you need to be concerned about is probably just the AGL Teen Gohan. But yeah, you'll see TEQ Hit gets a good attack off here. He actually does quite a bit of damage to us, so he can hit relatively hard. Get it? So yeah, he does chuck some real big damage. Nothing too crazy if your team is fine. If you are struggling, and you have the LR Master Roshi, you do have the revive mechanic, which will be helpful. It will actually assist you quite a bit. So you do have that to fall back on should you run into any real issues. But yeah, as always, your main goal is going to be making sure that you get the strength Goku linked up with the physical Goku Blue and the Vegeta Blue, and then you're going to obviously want to make sure that you have Master Roshi floating, I guess is the best term to use. Probably floating is the best, and then I would say you or maybe you want the int Gohan. It's very dependent on what you're going for, to be honest. It's not really too big an issue. You can see here int Gohan, AGL Gohan taking a lovely attack there. Quite a lot of damage, 183,000 as well, but you can see there that he can tank the later stages of this EZA, and by tank I mean he won't get you insta-killed. So if that's the only thing you are concerned about, then you can take two of them, but you're going to be losing a lot of damage, which is something obviously maybe you can't avoid. Maybe you have to take two of them, but just be very careful where you place them. Goku's Spirit Bomb is super helpful, so that's obviously very good, and we do need that because it does help us quite a bit, and it's a very helpful mechanic for just dishing out some damage, which is always, always much appreciated, especially when you can get into some tight situations like this. So yeah, obviously very good from Goku's side there, and yeah, beyond that though, do we struggle? Not really. I wouldn't say we struggle big time. Obviously we have some close calls. This somewhat unavoidable because it's just one of those events where you do just kind of, I don't want to say struggle is the term, but because of the limited team selection, you have very little control over all of these situations that your team can be in, and you have somewhat limited options as well. So yeah, but other than that, like, everything's fine. We'll use the active skill of the LR here. Obviously it's a risk because we can technically, reduce our defense to a very, very low point, but we should be fine. We won't really suffer too much. We should be okay. So it's just basically getting that extra damage in to finish off the stage against Hit. So yeah, that's pretty much it in terms of the guide. We will be finishing it off here, and then we just basically have to decide where we go to next. So we'll be finishing this off. Is it a farmable Extreme Z battle? I don't know. I wouldn't say it's necessarily the most farmable Extreme Z battle that I have experienced. I definitely myself cannot farm the stage. I can't, sit here and just farm away and come up with, as much as I want. So that's definitely something that I would say is quite noticeable. I can't farm the stage. But that being said, if you do have the right units, anything is farmable. So I'm sure you can farm it. It's just going to depend on whether you have the units or not. But I would definitely say it's a more niche Extreme Z battle than most. But that's it. So that's it for the Extreme Z battle. Obviously we completed the missions. So the missions, just to remind everyone, was obviously to finish stage 10 in under a minute and 50 seconds, stage 20 in 2 minutes and 20 seconds, and to have 3 all-out struggle units. But that's it, guys. So let me know in the comments how you found it. Leave a like if you enjoyed the video, and as always, stay safe, and I'll see you guys next time. Until then, bye.